Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming out to Startup Portal for 1 Million Cups this morning. I'm Graham Dodds, the Executive Director of Magic. We are a community sponsor of this program. We provide technology workforce education. We also are running the Autonomous Corridor project, so you may see me driving around in my purple Autonomous Corridor car. Quick thank you to Jeannie Bird Baking Company for providing the coffee and the baked goods and butter horns and such. So if you come here in person, you can imbibe in the coffee and try out the delicious baked goods from Jeannie Bird Baking Company. And we also still have a virtual coffee sponsorship from Furnace Hills Coffee, and you just go to furnacehillscoffee.com and order as much coffee as you please, and then you'll get a 25% discount by entering the code 1MC Westminster, all one word. So thank you to Furnace Hills for that as well, and of course to Startup Portal and Rick Leinbach for hosting us here in this beautiful space. So I'm just going to run through what 1 Million Cups is all about. The mission of 1 Million Cups is to lower the barrier for access to education, resources, and connections for entrepreneurs. Without the mission does not get accomplished without the pillars of the core program, which are that this is about presentations and not pitches, connection, not networking, culture to be for the community, by the community. Nobody has ownership of 1 Million Cups Westminster. In fact, there's about 170 of these 1 Million Cups communities around the country. Ours in Westminster is the only one in Maryland currently. And nobody should be paid to do 1 Million Cups Westminster. And we are radically and intentionally inclusive. Our core program is that we meet every week, Wednesdays at 9 a.m. We always have at least one presenter, two if possible. And then presenters' organizations, we just make sure that they're less than 5 years old. Sometimes there's some exceptions based on maybe a business that's launching a new initiative that's new and they need help with that. They are certainly welcome to come tell us about that. And then we always end with the question, what can we as a community do to help you? This is our organizing team for 1MC Westminster. Myself, Russ Hammett, Vicki Sleekman from Ting, Jonathan Wheatman, attorney at law, Tina Thomas from Infinite Love Project, Julia Stapp from Dirigible Systems, and Gabby Rose from Magic. And with that, I will get the next presentation ready here. And while I'm doing that, I will just note that we recently received a bunch of additional 1 Million Cups swag. So we're going to be giving out more swag than normal. We're getting a little more liberal with our swag. Thank you to, is it Jen found? Jan. I was right. It's Jan. Jan, if you're watching this from Towson, thank you. Jan was the head of the 1 Million Cups Towson chapter, which was stood up several years before ours, and unfortunately, it just didn't take in that community, so she had all this leftover stuff. So we have these vintage 1 Million Cups travel mugs that, I think these are the original travel mugs that they issued back in the day. And then we, of course, still have ours. We have more ceramic mugs now. We've got more T-shirts. We've got more stickers. And so next week, our intention is to, depending on who's going to be presenting and how many presenters we have, we're actually going to do some trivia and give away a bunch of swag on that day. So be sure to come in next week, whether we have a presenter or not, because we want to have some fun with community updates and some swag giveaways. So without further ado, let me introduce Jennifer Young from Covalent Spirits. Jennifer.
Thanks, Graham. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Jennifer, for those of you guys who are here at Startup Portal, there are some stickers floating around the tables. If you're interested in one, grab some. We have swag too. A little limited on swag, but we have swag as well. All right, well, thank you for having me here this morning. I am very excited to talk about Covalent Spirits. Covalent Spirits is a distillery and tasting room coming soon, hopefully, to Main Street, Westminster, Maryland. We are in the middle of our build out right now. But we are a little bit about who we are, what we believe in. We are a small distillery. We will focus on a couple of different things, make us stand out here in town. One of the main things is, one part of our vision is to really engage with the community. So we're going to be on Main Street. The idea behind that is we want to pop in, we want to be able to work with other local businesses, we want to be able to kind of really add to the economic development here in Westminster and Carroll County in general. We're going to experiment. Covalent is a chemistry term, which I'll get into a little bit later, but we want to kind of embody the spirit of experimenting and playing around with different flavors and techniques and styles and have fun with it. And we want to pull our customers into that, and that gets to focus on experiences. So what we want is not only do we want to sit in our distillery and play around like mad scientists putting things together, we actually want to invite our customers to join us in doing that. So really unique experiences that you probably won't really get anywhere else. We're going to kind of play around with those ideas. And of course, educate. I do believe that the more you know about what is in your glass, the better you appreciate it, and better you appreciate your palate and such. So we're going to have a lot of workshops and educate. These are kind of our 4 pillars that is kind of the root of our business and what we want to kind of bring to Westminster. Covalent, what does covalent mean? Those of you guys who are like me, who are biology and chemistry nerds, should be very easy term to remember. In chemistry, covalent refers to a bond formed through sharing. Simplest way of defining it. It is one of the strongest bonds that exists naturally. And that is what we believe in. We believe that the best and strongest connections and bonds that we have are through something shared, right? You share a drink with somebody and you kind of tell your stories. You share a memory, right? Whether it be good, bad, happy, sad. Think about some of the most memorable experiences you have. And sharing a community. And I know one thing I've learned about living here in Westminster is that they're all about community and how awesome that people can come together and connect through that common love for the community. That, to us, is the essence of our company, and that is the Covalent Spirit. We're all about connecting through sharing. So that means we're going to be making lots of different products to go in your cocktails. People ask me, oh, I don't know if I'll like you guys because you're just going to make whiskey. And I go, well, I do love whiskey, but our plan is to make a little bit of everything. So vodka, gin, liqueurs like limoncellos, amaros, and once again, playing with lots of different flavor profiles of liqueurs, brandies, and of course, whiskey, bourbon, rye, etc. Bourbon cream, most likely, we'll make as well. And we'll see what else we feel like tinkering with in our laboratory, so to speak. We're going to have a cocktail lounge as well to kind of showcase our products and give a place for people to gather. One thing that I've noticed on Main Street is that there are a few restaurants that have wonderful private event spaces and all, but not enough. People keep asking to have more places to go to and hang out and such. We want to create an event space for people to come. It's almost like an extension of your living room, an extension of almost your own private bar, so to speak. And community. We are definitely very focused on giving back to the community and supporting initiatives that help our community. And I mean, I've seen people come together to support different families and causes and such, and we want to be a part of that and be one of the ones that help perpetuate that and grow that. So who are we? I'm Jen, you guys met. My husband, Drew, is the other half of us. We joke around how I am the chief thinker and he is the chief taster. Believe it or not, yes, he actually did that back in 2016 when we were in Spain. Our friend's a winemaker there. Don't tell him we did this because he might yell at us. So a little bit about who we are, our background. For 25 years, I've been a management consultant. I've been helping businesses, nonprofits, agencies kind of fix their business problems, startups, mergers, modernization, efficiency, and all. That's kind of my background. I studied biology and chemistry in college, but never quite used any of that when I graduated. So the big joke I have with my parents is that I'm finally using my MIT degree in biology and pre-med and going to apply it to making spirits. Drew has been a Carroll County resident for about 30 years. He is a public educator. He spent a lot of time at Century High School, so some of you guys might recognize him from that. He is currently a principal down in Howard County. So we're very excited to put this together. I will admit, it is kind of my passion project, and he's being a good sport and joining me for the ride. All right, so people kind of ask me to go, why? Why are you opening a distillery? Are you crazy? Are you, you know? And I go, probably a little crazy. Right? Most entrepreneurs have a little bit of craziness in them. But I've been wanting to do this for about 8 years. And my husband kept asking me, you know, what are you going to do? When are you going to do it? And it got to a point where he said, if you don't do it now, you got to stop talking about doing it. I'm like, okay. So you do all the market research, you kind of look around and everything. And as you probably noticed, around not just Maryland, but everywhere around the country, craft distilleries are popping up everywhere. And the spirit market is a mega billion-dollar market. And for us to get a rounding error of that would be awesome. So the market has been growing in the last several years. People have shifting their buying preferences. A lot more of my friends talk about how they'll spend money on experiences, one-of-a-kind kind of things, rather than stuff. And that's pretty telling about kind of what people want and what they value these days. And so that's why we kind of molded the idea of our company. What we want to do is to kind of offer that as well. And then we were looking around here and looking at how there is so much tourism potential. Look at Frederick County and what Frederick does and how wonderful their little Main Street area is. And we have so much potential here to do the same thing. And tourism dollars helps everybody. It helps the restaurants, it helps the local professions, and everybody can benefit from this. So we want to be able to tap into that and see there's a lot of potential. And so I was looking, my husband asked me, where do you want to do this distillery? And I lived in the DC area for over 20 years and moved up here just in 2018 to move in with my then boyfriend, now husband. And I said, I kind of want to do it here in Westminster. He goes, really? Really? Because we're supposed to go like move into the city. I go, yeah, but there's such an amazing community, and it's so, you know, there's so much potential, and I'll prove it to you. So I did a big old map and showed it to him and everything. So that's us. That's us in Westminster right here, and that's Covalent Spirits, right? That's a distillery right here. There's about 30, 40 distilleries all around Maryland. There's a huge concentration in the Frederick area, and there's new ones popping up every year kind of thing. But there are only 2 distilleries in Carroll County, and they are both around a 25, 30-minute drive, give or take, kind of thing. But nothing kind of right in this area. So without a distillery here, there's nothing up here. So much potential. And if you add the wineries and the breweries, we definitely can have a very vibrant craft beverage tourism market here, right here in Carroll County. And how awesome and cool would that be? So many of my friends talked about how they would love to stay local and not drive 45 minutes to do all this stuff and everything. How cool it would be to be just 5-10 minutes away. So that kind of, he saw this map, he goes, okay, I'll give you that, we'll do it here in Westminster. Well, another reason why we are setting a shop here is because of the history. I'm not sure how many of you guys know, but there used to be a distillery in Westminster. If you drive through downtown, you see right by Paradiso's, you see that big stack, that brick stack, that's a Sherwood stack. And that was part of the old Sherwood Distilling Company, which you still see it, right off of, you see off of Main Street and everything. And we used to have distilling here. And records are kind of fuzzy, but we think around the 60s or 70s, it kind of went away. Paradiso moved in to part of the facility and everything. And other organizations moved in too. And, you know, like the history of rye distilling is so prevalent in Maryland. There's just so much here. Let's tap into that history. So we're tapping into that history, and we're trying to restore some history as well. While I would love to move to the Sherwood building, that's not going to be very possible right now. So we found the next best thing, which is the old city garage. This old city garage, that was a picture taken about 1920s or so. And the picture on the right here is what it looks like today. A little different, but there's so much architectural nuance, even for back then. It was very opulent, it had nice decor and everything. It's a wonderful, beautiful building. From what we understand, it has not been used, underutilized for the last 30, 40 years. Friends of mine who've grown up here, I said they've never really seen anything go on. And we're going through build out right now, and I will tell you, there hasn't been anything going on in there at all. But we're taking over this building, and our plan, my animation's a little off, is that, so right now it used to be one full building. It's now, we call it 2 buildings, the driveway through the middle, as we describe it to people. The Facility operations will be on this side. This is just a blank garage, unfurnished, kind of meh. This is an office space. I think the bank across the street can use it for overflow. I know that there was a co-working space that was going to go in there before COVID, but did not happen because of COVID. So there's an office space in here, and then there's a parking lot in the back. So our plan is to convert this into our tasting room, the bar, and a little speakeasy lounge, and a small kitchen, and our distillery operation to be on this side. The great thing about this property, it's set off the sidewalk a little bit. So if we really wanted to kind of build a little patio here, and in here in between, we totally can, we think. Our idea would be that we actually will block this off so no cars can go through. We don't want anybody, trying to walk through here to get cars that by all. There is a access behind the building to the parking lot. And so the idea, we have planters out here, people can walk around, we have cornhole in the middle between the two buildings, I don't know, we'll see, right? And then create a little outdoor space. And that's kind of our vision, to taking some of a very old building and kind of breathe some new life into it. So we're really excited about doing that. I say that now, but really the build out has been quite something. So I'm still excited though. I'm still very, very excited. I did a meltdown yesterday, but I'm still very excited.
Challenge accepted.
So, meet my babies. All right, this is our equipment. I don't think, and actually, this is actually some pictures I've not put on social media, I think. We have our mash tun, our fermenters, and our still setup. And this equipment we're going to use, obviously pictures not taken to scale and all. These are all 1,000 liter vessels. And the mash tuns will be used to cook our grains, eventually when we do our whiskey. And obviously you ferment them, and then we distill them a few times here. This is a hybrid still, column and pot still hybrid combination. This is our bubble plates with the bubble caps in here. We went down to Florida to take a look at our equipment, and they hand assemble these. We watch them take these plates and literally unscrew the bubble cap, and then screw these things in individually into each of these plates. I was like, oh my gosh, what? So the way stuff goes in here, goes up through here to distill. The way these bubble plates work, it actually adds more distillation. So when people talk about it's been distilled like 10 times, it might mean that 10 different plates kind of goes through. This is what we call an infusion basket. If you wanted to, you put botanicals in here, and then the ethanol steam will come through here before it becomes distillate. So that's an option to do for gin or flavored vodkas and things like that. They come up through here, we capture it, and then it will go into bottles or into barrels, depending upon what we're making. This is our equipment. It is waiting for us in Florida. As we do our build out, it's hanging out, waiting for us. Just to give you a little idea of scale.
Wow. Whoa.
I was very brave. He actually not like heights. If someone had to climb up there and mark these things, he looked at me, he goes, I'll do it. I'm like, I can do it. He goes, you do it, you're going to fall down and break your neck. I'll go do it. I'm like, okay. But yeah, it's about 10, 11 feet tall. Whole apparatus, so. But it's kind of fun. It's safe to climb up there and do this kind of stuff and everything. It's really kind of cool. So, but yes, we are waiting for build out to finish. And my animations are off. Oh no. Well, okay. That's okay. Well, obviously, I'm not sure how that happened, but we will. Let's see.
That one first, and then
That would be this and that gray screen needs to be last. That one, and then there's a whole. Yeah, those two will be. That.
that.
Yeah, it's like these two. Yeah, those were the first. These two are. Yeah, should be. Let's try that. Let's see.
Well, it's overlapped. Well,
All right. Okay. That's fine. We'll go the reverse way. Try what happened to my animation. So build out. We are in the middle of building out this building. It has been quite a learning experience, especially with a very old building. We mentioned before, this was a tasting room. This is the door here. This is an office space. And this is what it looks like now. This looks awesome and better. We tore everything out, and our plumbers have gone in to kind of do our trenching. we have, you probably notice here, there's these old windows, these in the building, that have been boarded up and boarded up. We don't know when, decades ago. It's actually structurally not sound. So we actually have to either put a window in or break it up for structural purposes. And we decided to do one window over here. As we were doing this build out last month, we decided, you know what, we're gonna actually do 2 windows and spend the money and do 2. We actually have an Indiegogo campaign going on right now to raise money for renovations for this building. And I keep joking about how, I want to raise it up to put 2 windows in. We're not quite there yet, but so that, and then this picture is pretty awesome. This is the back of the building. This leans. It probably shouldn't lean, and this is also a structural issue that our engineer had pointed out and all. And this is what it looks like today, and it's pretty cool. So if you drive by the building, which is 118 East Main Street, you'll see the scaffolding here. You kind of will see some of the stuff they're doing. Right now, the mason can't do too much because it's a little too cold. Mortar won't dry properly. So we were waiting for some plumbing parts, delayed supply chain, finally got it. All excited that I could see the light in the tunnel. And then yesterday, this happened. So we have a pipe burst in our building, might be both buildings, and our plumbing team is in there today trying to troubleshoot this a little bit more and see what's gonna happen. I cried yesterday because not only will this delay us some more, but now I gotta raise a bit more money. Yay! So this, I guess, goes to just what happens when you try to renovate an old building and everything. I went to Judy Bird after I discovered this and consoled myself with some pastries and tea. Yeah, straws and tribulations of build out. So as I mentioned, we do have an Indiegogo campaign. Part of it is for marketing purposes. Part of it is to raise a little bit to do build out. We have some cool merchandise that is part of it, as well as tours and tastings and stuff. We also launched a Founders Club, and that was a little bit more discreet. And we will be advertising or announcing that a little bit more. But that was a exclusive membership lifetime membership for people, and we only have 35 slots. We sold about 30 of them and raised quite a bit of money. We raised over $130,000 in just the Founders Club, and which helped pay for all the equipment that we have. So their contributions, we say, went to the equipment. Indiegogo, we're talking about how it's going to go towards helping build out the building. But our Founders Club have been amazing in terms of just coming out and supporting us and everything. But we do have this. This goes on for another few more days. I think it ends at February 2nd, maybe. And then that's it. Some of the stuff you can only get through Indiegogo or limited release. And yeah. More information about us. We're on our website. Go to our website, join our newsletter. And we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I will admit, we don't tweet very much right now. So if you expect all these updates on Twitter, I won't get any. We're probably most active on Facebook, and we're starting to do more on Instagram. We do have a YouTube channel, and we do have a TikTok account too, which I'm going to have to learn how to do and use to further promote our business. But that's a bit of us in a nutshell right now, the update about Covalent Spirits. Thank you so much for having me here today, and I'll take some questions.
And if you're watching on Facebook Live, please post your questions in the comments on the live feed, and Gabby here will read them aloud. Anyone here have a question to start us off?
It's always Tina.
Tina, go ahead. Tina Thomas from Infant Love Project.
I love this idea. This is so fun. Do you have any aspirations to have a mini walking tour of the experimental brew side, so to speak?
You mean right now during build out or later on?
Well, yeah. Well, in your build out, as you're putting, well, this piece goes here and this piece goes there. Will there be the opportunity to either look through glass and see the operation, or actually walk through the operation?
Yes.
Before? Yeah.
So when we open, tours and tastings are going to be part of one of our offerings. So folks will have the opportunity to kind of walk around and hear about our story, how we produce everything. Right now, there are no windows on the distillery ops side. There will be eventually. We're going to change out some of the garage doors and put windows in. It's a nice to have right now, so we're going to bump out to phase 2 or 3 to do that improvement. Prior to opening, we actually are going to do a couple of pop-up tours and meet and greets. And for now, those are actually going to be open to our Founders Club and Indiegogo supporters only. So we're going to reach out to them. Actually, I think next week we might do one, and we'll do a pop-up thing, take a tour, see what's going on, and then meet up at a local watering hole and chit-chat and answer any questions, what's going on, what we're doing, and all that kind of stuff too. We're going to tap into that same group for if we do focus groups and do product development. So a lot of folks in our Founders Club are going to be the ones we tap into for product development and everything. So if we're going to have some stuff to taste and try, they will totally do that too. But yeah, we will. We'll definitely have all that and keep you excited to see everything. Right now, I was actually going to have something this week, but I'm glad I didn't because given the water situation, it's not so pleasant. Other questions?
I have a question about the scale of it, and based on the equipment that you showed us and the scale of it already, and that's a micro distillery. What does sort of a larger scale distillery look like? Is it more of the same machines, or is it bigger machines?
Bigger.
Oh,
and could be more too. Yeah, so 1,000 liter still is about 260 gallons. And I think a lot of places might go up to about 2,000 liters still and so forth. And it's about just kind of how many batches, how many runs it takes to make something, whether it be your vodka or for whiskey production is how many runs do you need to take to fill a barrel. When you think about it, when you ferment, the ferment has only about 8 to 10% alcohol. So you basically eventually got to strip all that out to eventually hit 60, 70, 80%, right? And so it's a lot of runs you have to do to strip that. So a lot of places have much larger equipment, or they have several to go for it, yeah.
And so as you scale, do you scale in that same facility? Will there be room for additional stills, or would it have to be another real estate development or expansion?
Good question. TBD. We probably have room to grow the actual equipment. We actually had 2 stills. We also have a 100-liter still as well, it's a little baby still. We have a little bit of room to kind of grow it, but then eventually, yeah, especially for warehousing, if we're going to do a lot of whiskey production, we might need a rig house off-site to actually store all those barrels too. So that's the one to see. It's a nice problem to have if we outgrow our space, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I guess a couple questions. One, staffing wise.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you see from other distilleries day one for you to get out there and go?
So a lot of the small distilleries, it's just them. It's just the owners or a couple of consultants perhaps. So our plan is to be open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sundays only. And only probably during peak hours, right? So maybe like 4 to 8 or 4 to 10 or something like that. So where we don't need to have staff full time. For production purposes, yes, we're going to probably need some help. But I have actually somebody that has been helping us on the side as a consultant, and she'd be perfect as a part-time distiller. We're not going to be producing every day, so it's hard to maintain full-time staff like that. Yeah, but we've been networking and meeting people who can fill in some of these gaps for us when we need to. So.
And then have you had thoughts of bringing in the Sherwood aspects to it in the future? I love that aspect. You know.
Oh, yes, there is somebody owns the naming rights to Sherwood still, so there's something about that we need to look into. But we have a couple of we've been researching a couple of the historical elements of it too, and then kind of see what we can do to kind of nod. Somebody told me that they once saw a recipe for it, but I don't know. So we're gonna dig into that history a little bit too to see what we can pull in.
Oh, cool, fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few on Facebook.
Well, Eric had
Okay.
his hand up. Yeah.
Okay. Vicky from Ting says good morning. Kim says she wants a sticker from Magic Celebrate. And Mark Weingram says thanks for presenting. Will you consider private casking, allowing experimenters to pay to age and bottle limited volumes through you for consumption, not for resale?
Yes. So there are. So yes, you get a sticker. You can drop it off today, right? Probably take a sticker with you. So the short answer is yes on the private casking. There's some liquor laws we have to kind of work around. There's lots of laws and rules around it. But the idea that we want to do is a lot of personalized stuff. So whether it be, if you want to wait several years, perhaps make a barrel with us. And barrels come in different sizes, right? But maybe you come and make a barrel with us, or you do a barrel pick, or we have distillate and you want to kind of age it yourself. I know some places do it where you buy the unaged spirit and then you put it into a barrel and you kind of age it that. There's laws in Maryland about legalities, how you sell and age and keep for other people. But in general, yes, we want to do some sort of personalized, almost like private label, but not quite that far. One of the ideas we want to do is do a lot of like blend your own, make your own, especially for a party or a group of people, and have your name on the bottle or somewhere on the bottle, your name or your group name or something to commemorate the event you just had with us. So the kind of things we're playing around with as well.
Excellent. Thank you for that question, Mark. Mark is coming to us from Annapolis. He was one of our first sort of like core audience, attendees when we launched this program virtually. So it's good to hear Mark is watching from Annapolis. Any other questions? Eric, go ahead.
Thank you for bringing new life to that building. As someone in the construction industry, I walk Main Street. I peeked around the corners, and I didn't know you had started working on it. So good job there. How long have you had your name?
We've had our name since the beginning of 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, we incorporated in the beginning of 2020.
Why do you ask?
We've heard of the name Covalent used in other spaces.
Oh, okay.
So it's just
Well, I mean,
maybe it's one of those things where as soon as you hear it, then you start hearing it again.
Right, you might, yeah. I mean, every chemistry textbook has this idea in there, and every high school chemistry student gets grilled on ionic bonds and covalent bonds and all that kind of means and everything. So it is a pretty common chemistry term in that world and everything.
Have you looked into the trademark availability for it?
For Covalent Spirits, it is available as well. It's in our logo as well too.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Excellent. Any other questions? Tina, go ahead.
One more about you had mentioned having a small kitchen, and I didn't know if what your planned offering from that standpoint is,
Sure.
and is it potentially, if you're not going to be open 7 days, would you consider then leasing that out to somebody else who could then add, a more consistent food aspect to Main Street, which is what we're, hoping for.
So once again, there's some funky laws around being a distillery license holder and what you can and can't do. And I'm actually lobbying, working with the Distillers Guild to kind of get Annapolis to reinterpret some of their laws so that I can actually serve full-on food myself to our guests. Right now it's not technically allowed unless you outsource the kitchen to somebody else, and all that rigmarole. But the idea is that ideally we'd be able to serve some light food. So our kitchen's going to be always, when we start out, it's going to be a very simple kitchen, not a full kitchen. And then down the road, we want to expand that into a full kitchen with a stove and a hood and all that kind of stuff. But in the short term, if we're allowed to provide some simple stuff, we would like to do that. If not, then we'll do the same model that everybody else does with bringing in caterers and bringing in food trucks to do that. We are fortunate that we are on Main Street around several businesses. So if we could implement our own little DoorDash system within our distillery, perhaps we could strike up some relationship with some local food vendors and restaurants where somebody can order, and food comes right up and gets delivered over, kind of thing. So we're going to kind of play around with those different ideas. But I love to cook. I have a side business where we do some private chefing and event design and everything. And so I would love to be able to cook and provide better certain kinds of foods and everything. But once again, we are bound by legalities and all. We're trying to work around.
Do both of both sides of the garage, do they have two different addresses, or is it the same address for both sides?
So technically, if you look at the tax data and everything, it is 116, 118 East Main Street. However, but at one point in time, it's actually 116, 118, 120. All three got merged, so it's actually one deed right now, so to speak. So right now we're using one address, we're using 118 East Main Street for it. But there might come a time where we actually might use two different ones. The legalities of stuff, right?
Yeah.
If we have two separate facilities and it's called two different things, we do have that flexibility doing that one day. It just got too confusing as we apply for stuff to have 2 addresses, right? So we just kind of call it one. It's the whole thing, but we technically could split out if we wanted to.
Why did you choose 118 as opposed to 116 or 120?
I think if we co-garage we're using 118, it's just made it a lot easier. Just when they transfer thing over to us, it's a lot easier. So we'll just do 118 as well.
Any other questions? Anyone else on Facebook?
Oh, that's fun.
Rick, go ahead.
So many people want to do what you're doing, right? From your plan originally, where you sold it, how, left, right did it go that you're, keeping on track? So where are you compared to your plan? You don't get a ton of
Right.
details, but this is almost more mentally than it is information-wise. So.
So I've done startups before in the services industry. Startup consulting companies, startup a nonprofit. This is definitely the biggest startup challenge I've ever had. Partially it's because it's a whole different area for me. Construction, build out, historic buildings, zoning codes, liquor laws. Like, oh my gosh. So 8 years ago when I first had this idea, I thought I didn't know what to expect, what to think. And then in the beginning of 2020, end of 2019 into beginning of 2020, we started formulating this plan to do this. And my idea was to do a very, 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 very small distillery. Where we're talking about like yay big still, right? And looking at that building, just half that building. So I think when we actually pitched at this challenge, I think we pitched it as just potentially just half of that space. And then the equipment was half the size. And then you quickly kind of like, well, for scale, and everybody I talked to said, in 3 years, you'll regret going that small. Because especially if you want to make whiskey, you'll be doing runs all the time. It's like, it's just not worth it. Go up, go up, go up. And so we did, which of course, increased the budget, increased everything else. We didn't expect COVID, so that actually impacted us, not so much the first year, but this year for build out, it's impacted us a little bit. So our timeline has gone way off. Budget has also gone way up. And so this little idea I had is now this big, huge thing, and it's too late to put it back in the can. So we're moving forward with it, and we're going forward with it and everything. But the city's been extremely supportive. I'm really, really grateful for the previous mayor, some of the previous city council members, and then the current mayor and current city council members. Everybody's extremely supportive about this project, and from the vibe that we've received, everybody's really excited about having it on Main Street and such. So
I just need a plumber to be supportive.
well, I know, we do. Our plumbers have been really responsive. They came out yesterday right away, and they're out there today to kind of take a look some more. And these are things you learn, things you don't think about because we don't do build outs all the time. And obviously the next time we build something out, we will keep these things in mind. It's a very expensive lesson we're learning.
Tina, you have another question?
Yes, and sort of to jump out on the planning theme. So in your plan, you're hoping for a soft open and then a full blown, open house on X date. But going through the process, you're going through how has that moved, and what are you looking at now?
We originally were hoping we'd be open before the holidays, and that obviously did not happen. And I was, hoping we'd be open. At this point, actually, if we can be open in time for the beer barbecue stroll, I'd be very excited. I would love to be open in time for the Westminster beer barbecue stroll and kind of participate in that amazing event and such. So we're telling everybody spring at this point. We'll see how it happens. It's if I had a project plan, it's a massive Gantt chart with all the dependencies and everything, and we legally cannot make anything until we have our state distillery license. And unlike home brewing, we can brew at home. We legally cannot distill at home. But we won't be able to get our state license until our use and occupancy certificate comes in, which you won't get until your build out is done, which I can't finish until supply chain issues lift and all that kind of stuff. So once we're actually in, and I can start move my equipment up in Florida, start shipping a product, another couple of months is probably when I would feel ready that we can actually sell the product. So that's kind of our timeline right now, and so build out is critical. It'll be what it'll be.
Well, we'll wrap up with the question of what can we as a community do to help you? So what do you help with the most right now?
I would say please spread the word about us and let people know that we're coming. And we do a few days left in our renovation funding campaign. And so if people are interested in that, by all means, chip in. Every little bit helps and all. And we plan to kind of give a lot of love to our early supporters and such. But just spread the word, tell people we're hoping on Main Street really, really soon. So thank you for having me here today.
Excellent. All right. You're good. You want to do that? There you go. All right, so we are just going to wrap up here and actually open up for any kind of community updates or comments. I know Rick has an update, right?
I
Rick?
do.
So come on up.
All right.
Rick Leinbach from Startup Portal.
All right. Does anybody have a picture that you can put up there?
Yeah. Picture of,
Nick might be able to.
you want a web browser?
Yeah, there you go. We're fine. So I think we're only in cups is great.
Oh, okay.
All right. Jennifer, thank you so much. That was outstanding. Great information. And really, as I'm hearing this, leads me into my conversation, really defining Startup Portal. And Startup Portal started on Main Street, where I was down in the Longwell building. And part of it was, Startup and Portal came from equity crowdfunding. Started back in 2012-13, a long time ago. Rules took a long time. But I was going through it, and my wife thought I was crazy because I was like, startups? And you have to go through an equity crowdfunding portal. So that's how Startup Portal came about. So my wife was like, I had Startup Portals as a domain as you're looking through the stuff. And a guy in Germany had Startup Portal. So I think I paid $400 for startupportal.com and startupportal.net.
Yeah.
And even from the standpoint of someone had in Twitter, someone had Startup Portal. Well, lo and behold, with Twitter, if you have an operating business and somebody has a domain, you can actually lobby them, show them your business card, and get that domain. So that's kind of what we did to come about. So over the last few years, we've been doing consulting and trying to find what Startup Portal is. So we're in Longwell. I'm walking down the street, and our friend Claire was part of Cobb 51 downtown. And I was like, well, if she can teach art, I hope to teach people about finances. So that's kind of how we define Startup Portal and come about. So, we launched in 2020, January, and March 2020, COVID hit. So we all pulled back, and so we're still truly trying to define ourselves. But we're getting there. Obviously, we've added full-time people, and Seth and Suzanne and Lisa's been here 4 years, and Seth and Suzanne about a year. So really, Nick's been here 6 months. So we're defining Startup Portal. And part of that definition is having a great town of Westminster and Carroll County community that we want to help teach people about startups and the ups and downs you experience, and making sure we're kind of at your side as your outsourced CFO. That's really where we see our part and our lap lane. So part of that is having co-working space here, having trying to put in a podcast studio and things that people can use for their startups. So today we're announcing the fact that we have a small town of Westminster we're in. We're now launching Startup Portal Cumberland. And we have a co-working space in Cumberland that we're taking over to really help define ourselves. And Nick, I don't know if you want to...
Trying to cast, I think it needs to be switched over to the Chromecast.
Oh, did we stop casting?
Stop casting, yeah. Yeah, so we are defining ourselves as...
All right, it's all you,
There
Nick.
you go. So hopefully, Nick may be able to cast a picture. Had some trouble this week.
You disconnected, reconnect.
Cumberland's underwater.
So Cumberland, like Westminster, I think fits.
There you go.
Yeah, fits where we are and where we position to be in the smaller towns and defining ourselves. So this is a stretch for us, literally a stretch from a 2-hour drive. But from a location standpoint, this is all truly ready to go. They've done a beautiful job. This is the co-working side. And quite frankly, my thought is we put actual offices in this side to the right, if we can do that. whether it's glass offices or something, so they actually have day-to-day, come there day-to-day. And then the other side is, let's see if we got it. Thanks, Nick, for behind the scenes.
Pay no attention to the name.
So this side is an event space. So they've done a beautiful job renovating and putting it out there. So we're excited to announce Startup Portal Cumberland.
That's awesome.
And the nice thing is, we hope to support truly from Westminster into the Baltimore area, further west, to the Western Maryland. So we really have a defined scope for ourselves. And some of the things we're going to do, focus on are the education. So that people, like yourself, it takes planning. It does not happen day one. And if you start today, it may be a year or two. So we want to provide that program that you come and get educated, listen to the Jennifers of the world, and you can tell the passion, and then the pipe burst. And what do? You reset yourself. So that's the education side. And then we'll get into really to the core of helping people raise capital. I never say I'll raise capital for you. I just want to put you in position to raise capital for yourself. And that's our goal. So we're going to go from education down to our services and helping people like, Tina Thomas, and to really get into the core of how can we help people in communities like ours. So that's my big announcements. So, questions?
Any questions for Rick?
Fun stuff. Congrats.
Thank you.
Comments? Yeah.
That's awesome.
Like Jennifer, it's scary as can be.
Hell
Yeah.
So,
I think
yeah.
Cumberland is kind of similar to Westminster in the sense that you don't have a lot of people from major cities, living and working there because of the commute is too long.
Today.
Yeah, right.
Today. I mean, that's the defining change word that's occurring. Is that when I spoke to people out in Cumberland, they're like, hey, people are looking at Cumberland as a destination to actually live and work. And they're going through development questions and concerns themselves of, okay, how do we do it? So,
Right. There's a lot of lessons learned with Westminster, success with gigabit fiber, to actually replicate there and have it be more than just, the occasional, vacation spot or a place that's like a bedroom suburb, but more of a place where people live and work because of the virtual commute that they can do now.
Can you extend your autonomous corridor?
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, maybe Magic follows a startup portal around the country.
there you go. We say that
What's their connectivity? Do they have Ting out there?
they do not have Ting, but they are actually redoing their whole downtown and putting in fiber just like Ting.
Bravo.
So so they're stepping forward and at least building the infrastructure. I don't think we're disrupted by that infrastructure because we're a block away from the main area. But if you've been to downtown, they have like a walkway downtown. That's all kind of, you can go through the shops and all. I think they're tearing that all up. So so we're heading out there today and starting our process of really cleaning it up and basically clean up. There's really not much we have to do infrastructure-wise to get started. So, fun stuff.
Excellent.
All right.
Any other updates, comments, updates, shout-outs? I know Billy Live had his first workshop at Together Studios last week. Tina, you were there, right?
Yes.
How'd it go?
Yes, it was very informative.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was collaborative as well.
Good, yeah. We helped Billy a little bit with just, helping him figure out like what the workshop, the flow of the workshop and any kind of materials that he needed to print for that. But it looked like from the photos, it was a great turnout, great first workshop there at Together Studios. So congrats to Billy Live, Wisdom Court, Together Studios for a successful launch of that program. Magic has several events coming up. It's going to be a busy, end winter, spring for us. We're wrapping up our mini hackathon, which is a virtual asynchronous hackathon. I think we have 4 or 5 teams now competing.
5.
We have 5 teams now competing. They'll be wrapped up with their submissions by the 31st of this month, and we'll have judging by the 7th of February. And then we have our business risk conference. So we're doing a cybersecurity risk management seminar. There's a specific reason for that term that I don't need to get into. It's a seminar at the community college for credit. And we will have Ron Gula from Tenable Gula Tech Foundation as a keynote speaker. Several other people from the cybersecurity industry speaking. And then we'll have a VIP private reception at Old Westminster Winery afterwards. So we're really excited about that. That is on March 4th. And then we also have our main hackathon event, which is April 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, the weekend of April Fool's Day, also at the community college. We also have our Capture the Flag cybersecurity competition, which will be locally hosted at the new Exploration Commons library facility. And that is on
April 30th.
April 30th, thank you. And then we're looking ahead to bringing autonomous vehicles back out for another showcase event on May 20th here in Westminster. So we hope to take over the Stocksdale Garage property again and have all of our various partners and maybe some new partners come out to showcase their autonomous vehicles, do some autonomous vehicle rides again, and hopefully with seeing the pandemic hopefully waning, we'll be able to have an even bigger event than we did last year, where we kind of fell right in between the first wave and Delta, and it was just like just okay enough. And so hopefully it'll be a nice mild May for COVID. I'm going to bring Tina Thomas to close this out.
I wanted to.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Nick.
no,
Yeah, come on up.
Yeah. Hi, Nick, Starter Portal. So we are having our first pitch night coming up. We attempted it before, but being around the holidays wasn't really a good time. We had a lot of interest and people signed up. So we're going to have we have a link on our events page to sign up. There's a Google form on there you can fill out, and you can select the days which will work best for you. We're looking to have 10 presenters. It's going to be a private event. You can have 2 people with you, and we're going to have a panel of judges. And the winner is going to actually receive $1,500 in Starter Portal services. So we're really excited. This is the first of many. And we're actually, I don't want to give away too much, we're actually working on a brand for our pitch night, which we'll be unveiling shortly. So if you want to sign up, please go on our website on events. There's a click right there, fill out the form, let us know what works best for you, and we'll email you and get in contact. And yeah, we're really looking forward to it.
Is there a target date for that?
It's going to be probably the 2nd or 3rd week in February. On the form, there's multiple days you can select. So we'll just select what's best for you, and we'll kind of get an aggregate of what works best for everybody. And it's first come, first serve. So we're looking at ideally have 10 pitches. So it's going to be a couple minutes pitch, and you can have a three-page slide deck with you if you wish. And you can just email that to us ahead of time. We'll get into that later, but yeah, we're excited.
Okay.
You want to wrap us up?
Sure. Yay. All kinds of fun stuff that's happening in our entrepreneurial community. This is excellent. Thank you, Jen, for helping us understand what you're trying to accomplish on Main Street in Westminster. You're right, we have an awesome community. So it's great to hear that you're making progress on your project, and looking forward to supporting that. So thank you to Startup Portal. Congratulations on your expansion. That's fun stuff. He is CFO Rick. He's our CFO. So if you need someone to help you understand your numbers as you try to grow your business, as you're trying to plan out, how can I take this concept in my head, my dream, the thing that I want to do every day, and turn it into a reality, you have to help. You have to get the numbers to work. And that's no easy feat a lot of the time. So get yourself a CFO, like CFO Rick here at Startup Portal. That's what we did, and so Infinite Love Project's doing really well with that. Thanks to Magic for bringing all kinds of fun to the Westminster community, and autonomous things, and helping to expand on the gigabit, and helping the community connect in so many different ways. We really appreciate that. Thank you to everybody here who has made it. We are 1 Million Cups Westminster. You can go to 1millioncups.com/Westminster and sign up to apply to present. Sometimes we have 1 presenter, sometimes we have 2, and next week it could be you. So hopefully you'll have a great week, and we'll see you then.